And our special guest this morning, I think, quite frankly, the remarkable Brooke Kinsella. Now, a household name, of course, thanks to a 4-year stint in EastEnders playing troubled Kelly Taylor. Brooke decided to use her fame and influence to get the rest of us thinking about knife crime, and with good reason, as I'm sure you all know. Brooke lost her brother Ben 15 months ago when he was fatally stabbed by a gang of youths. I imagine it must seem like yesterday, doesn't it, still?
Oh, it really does. I mean, it's really weird. It does seem like I last saw him and kissed him goodbye yesterday, but it also feels like he was never even here, actually. So it's, you know, time is really distorted when something like this happens to you.
Where's your own sort of headspace at the moment? Are you...
You know, I've just tried my hardest to keep myself busy the past year, obviously doing the campaigning, trying to get tougher sentences and deterrents, trying to kind of reach out to those kids out there and educate them that, you know, there are other choices out there other than carrying a weapon in your pocket. So, you know, I don't think I've actually let myself really sit down and think your brother's not coming home yet, which is, I think it'll have bad consequences. But this is what I'm doing at the moment, so...
well, indeed, the heartbreak, the legal dramas, the confusion that followed Ben's murder, all of that has been captured in this book. It's called Why Ben. Why did you want to write the book? We know you've done marches and press campaigns. Why the book?
You know, it started... I found that I couldn't get into words the grief and the pain I was feeling. I'm not the type to talk to a counsellor, and I didn't want to burden my mum or my dad, who are the first people you go to when you've got problems like this. And I wanted to talk to my brother, but when I spoke to him in my head, I couldn't stop breaking down. So I decided to write it. They always say, you know, the pen is a very mighty weapon. Write your feelings down. And
well,
it went from there.
Each chapter opens with this kind of... I've been trying to think of the words all morning. I suppose love letter is probably the most honest approach to your brother. Each chapter. Did you and Ben have that kind of relationship where you would express your feelings like that?
Well, I'm so lucky that I come from a family that are so affectionate. And, you know, he was 16, I was 25. I don't know of many brothers and sisters that are that close. You know, I spent time with him every single day, and I thank my lucky stars now that I did have that time with him. I
think it's important that we know what happened as best we can that night in June last year. Can you take us through what you know about it?
I mean, we obviously didn't find out what happened to a year later till the trial, but as far as we knew, it was a normal night. He was 16 and a half, he'd just finished his exams, you know, he was predicted A-stars, which he got, and, you know, he'd left school 2 weeks before that, and he went out to, like, a local pub, not a bar or a club. He went out with lots of people his age, and there was a DJ. He loved music, my brother, and there was a DJ that they all wanted to see, and they just wanted to celebrate the end of finishing school, and he did. And we believed that a fight broke out in this pub that had absolutely nothing to do with my brother, and the gates were locked and people began to make their way home. And as he was walking up the road with a lot of other people, he realised that he was being chased, and the only conclusion we can come to is that instead of running towards the trouble where the people were running in that direction, he stopped running and he crossed the road because obviously he thought, well, this has got nothing to do with me. And they just saw him as the easier target, and they caught him and stabbed him 11 times. And that was it. 5 hours later, he died.
Now, Jay Braithwaite, Michael Elaine and Juress Kika were found guilty of murder earlier this summer, each sentenced to 19 years in prison. Crime and punishment. Now, I mean, you're going to know more about this than any of us here. Does 19 years bring you and your family any kind of comfort? No. I mean, to be honest, nothing can bring us. We will never get Ben back. That's our only comfort. But we was lucky, people say, because I know many, many families that have walked into that court and walked out with the killers. You know, people just get not guilty. They get maybe 5 years, 10 years. It's not enough. Ben was only here not even 17 years. It's literally little more than he lived, and they'll be out before they're 40. They can have time to start their lives again, and my family and Ben never can. And I don't think it's justice, really.
It's terrible, isn't it? I want to hug you from here, you know, because do you find that having to talk about it because of the position you had before is an advantage or a disadvantage? Do you sometimes just want to run away?
Do you know, I don't. I sometimes feel terribly guilty because I've met so many families that have lost their children years ago and have been fighting for years to get their voices heard, and it makes me quite upset that all of a sudden people listen to me because I happen to have some kind of profile that I don't believe that I have anyway. But, you know, I get these amazing messages.
Wouldn't you rather have the profile doing something like this than selling nail varnish?
Of course, and I get so many messages that say, please do use your voice to try and make a difference, and that is what keeps me going,
I think you made a huge difference already. I mean, a huge difference. I mean, you met Gordon Brown a couple of times.
I did, yeah. People joke that I've got him on speed dial, but it's nothing. I can't get out parking tickets at all. But yeah, I try. I keep asking him, but no, he won't do it. I have met him, and you know, I think he's took a lot of the flack for this. I don't pretend to know much about politics. You know, I really don't. I'm trying my hard to
I don't think
learn
he does
now.
either, so you're
but there you go. But
really
he seemed very sincere. You know, he's promised lots of things. I've not seen any of those promises come through yet, but we're still waiting.
Was it quite a challenge going from, you know, from acting to suddenly you're fixing up meetings with politicians?
It's so weird. You know, a year ago I was doing a play in Hackney, and now I'm kind of going into schools to talk to kids and going into prisons to talk to prisoners, and it's really weird. But if this was the direction that my life was meant to take, then so be it.
You going back to acting then?
Oh, most definitely.
Good.
You know, it kind of stopped meaning much to me. I saw it as a bit shallow, but I've done it since I was 6 years old, and I would like to
I was
try
going
and
to say,
get back.
because out of all of this, if there was a concern that I had, if it was in my family, would be, what about you? What about your life? What about doing the things that you want to do? Because I know you've been trying to set up this sort of youth theatre group with your partner. How's that coming along?
It was really good. We was actually due to open again just before Ben died, just a local drama
so it was actually
school.
before that?
Just
Okay,
before that, I'd been planning it. I taught drama for 3 years up until the day Ben died. It's one of my passions is teaching kids, and I wanted to open up my own school, and unfortunately, you know, circumstances delayed that. But it's something that I do want to look into, and all sorts. I've just decided I'm going to do everything I wanted to do in my life now. So I'm doing a criminology course and just trying to do lots of things, really. So
good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you. It really is a pleasure to have you with us this morning, and we've got some discussions lined up that I think you'll enjoy, and you guys at home. I should tell you about today's show, really. After the break,